It's Meghan Kelly time. Now, Harry and Meghan have rightfully taken a lot of flack for their smear campaign against the monarchy, but should our anger be directed at the entertainment company Netflix for allowing this journalistic atrocity to be broadcast without any of the usual checks and balances? One of Hollywood's wokest filmmakers, Liz Garbus, whose previous work includes The Handmaid's Tale, was recruited to direct their Moanfest. But since the release of last week's documentary, if we can call it that, I think we could take Netflix for the Trade Descriptions Act, actually, by describing it as a documentary. But journalists like me who actually covered Megxit have exposed her work for being filled with distortions and downright lies. So, Meghan, it's now less than 36 hours until Volume 2 of the Harry and Meghan show. But I want to know how you think Netflix are actually getting away with broadcasting only one side of this story.
I don't know about you, Dan, but I'm not getting paid enough for this crap. Another 3 hours? I just got through the first 3. You know how to podcast, you can at least press 1.5 or 2. You can go faster. Didn't you want that button when you were watching that first 3 hours? I was like, for the love of God, make it stop. My poor husband, we were away together, so he got dragged into it too. And now part 2, I can't. It's not a documentary. It's a joke. It is propaganda to rehab the prince and princess, the duke and duchess. And this woman, Liz Gravess, not only did she direct Handmaid's Tale, she thinks that Meghan's living Handmaid's Tale in the UK. She thinks the royal family is subjecting people to that kind of lifestyle right now. I could go I went on my show and I went through the journalistic errors here. I mean, just ethical breaches is what they are. And look, if you are going to hold something up as just our story, that's fine. Don't call it a documentary. It's just our story. It's our version of what we lived. Okay, but this is not a documentary that actually documents truth. And it's nothing close to journalistically sound. You don't, if you're a real journalist, include 5 pictures depicting their alleged harassment by the press that had absolutely nothing to do with them. You don't include a picture to represent the war of the press on them, in which the two of them consented and participated and absolutely knew that the photographer was there. You do not fail to contact the palace through about 50 different means available to you 10 different times to make sure the audience understands that they had the chance to comment. You absolutely made contact with the right people and they declined to do so. Everybody knows all of this except for apparently Netflix and Liz Gravess, who don't understand that at all. You also don't smear the BBC as having put on an orchestrated reality show without reaching out to the BBC for comment and at least letting them offer their defense. Right now, they're offended. They've said that's a lie. They've said they're overstating the case and that the BBC's clips have been misrepresented. So she's embarrassed herself and grossly undermined the credibility of this piece that she wants us to accept as truth.
Well, indeed, Meghan, and the problem I guess that she's got is that she is working with 2 out-and-out liars. And I am very happy to say that now. We have so much evidence. And I want to point to one particular example in Volume 1, Meghan, which was this ludicrous claim from Meghan Markle that courtiers at the palace stopped her from inviting her own niece to her wedding. Now, I can tell you, Meghan, that it is an out-and-out mistruth. It's not a distortion, it is a complete lie. Because actually the courtiers were so desperate for Meghan Markle to invite more than just her own mother to the wedding because they knew that the public were going to think, this woman's a weirdo. She doesn't have any relatives at her own wedding.
Yes. Well, here's the other thing. What goes unsaid is, have they gotten back together? They got married 4.5, almost 5 years ago. Are Meghan and Ashley back together again now that the evil palace courtiers are not interfering? They didn't cover that in the documentary, and I wonder why. I feel like we would have seen the holding hands running in the meadow together shot had they been reunited, if only for the removal of the palace. It wasn't there, and it wasn't there for a reason. But here's what I find interesting, Dan. Here's what I want you tell me, because you're in a much better position to know. They're basically going to claim that the palace controls the press in Great Britain. Now, that's definitely not true over here. I'm going to say whatever I want to say about them and have. You have to say factual if you're going to report it as fact. If you're going to say opinion, you can say what you want, at least in America. Now, the rules are tighter over by you. But they're claiming that the palace controls the press, that any negative pieces that we've seen there have been because they pull your little puppet strings and you do what the palace says. I've been dying to talk to you about this, but what say you?
It's absolutely ludicrous. I mean, I was the first journalist in the world to report on the fact that the Queen had reprimanded Prince Harry over the way that Meghan was dealing with staff. And was also the first journalist in the world, and this is back in November 2019, to report that Meghan Markle and Kate Middleton had fallen out over the way that Meghan was treating staff members. Now, let me tell you, Meghan, they tried so hard. Buckingham Palace, Kensington Palace tried so hard for many weeks to stop me writing that story. They wanted to stop journalists writing the truth. And actually, for a long time, they succeeded. Lots of this behaviour from Meghan Markle was going on for months and months and months behind the scenes, behind palace walls. And the royal rota that Prince Harry has such a problem with for some reason actually reported none of it, because the palace is very, very reticent to help journalists get negative stories across the line. So it
makes perfect sense. How else do I know about Prince Andrew and his fondness for Jeffrey Epstein if the palace controls all the news? Why did I see the naked, half pictures of Kate Middleton back in the day, when she got caught by the paparazzi? And so, as you've been pointing out on your show, if they really want to avoid paparazzi, they need to come here. They need to go there, not come here. Paparazzi don't have the same restrictions on them in America that they do in Great Britain. But my absolute favorite part of what we saw last week, my absolute favorite, was the non-paparazzi chase, the fake paparazzi chase with one guy on a scooter. Dan, I don't know about you, but I've had more paparazzi chasing me for pictures when I go with friends to the beach. And she's like, safety first, safety for these drama queens. No one's there. It's one guy on a Vespa. He probably wants to give you a newspaper. Calm down. You're not Princess Diana. Harry, I said it on my show, he needs therapy. He did not marry Princess Diana. He cannot have a redo on Princess Diana. No one is chasing them. Literally nobody is interested in them other than Netflix. And I don't think anybody's doing anything other than hate watching this documentary. I, for one, will be thrilled when it's over.
Oh, me too. It will be an early Christmas present. But you know what? I think you're really right to point out that chase scene, because there was a very sinister element to that. It showed the way that Meghan Markle gets into the head of Harry. She wants to manipulate him. She wants him to feel more scared. I'm not one of these people that blames Meghan all the way, but I thought that scene was very telling about their relationship. Look,
it was
Megyn Kelly,
ridiculous.
I can tell you, I am going to be with your great show, The Megyn Kelly Show, on Sirius XM and on YouTube and as a podcast on Friday, so that we can totally pick all over Volume 2, because I have a feeling, Megyn, there's going to be lots of brilliant revelations to come.
Cannot wait. That's the thing I want to watch, not what comes the night before, but we'll do it in service of the audience.
I will see you on Friday, Megyn. Thank you so much.